Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hey, we're going to go live because I just realized we're not actually those people.
Say, are we Sunday now?
Yes. We switched over. We're actually That Silverline Show on Tuesday, not Sunday.
I signed in really, really early.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought we were about to have a bunch of special guests.
Yeah. Just the rest, all the rest of the intro still applies, just not the 30 seconds there. But no, we're the Tuesday crew. I'm your host, Tim TK, joined as always by Mr. Quentin Bedwell.
Yes, it is I.
And our newest member of the Island Misfit Toys, Mackenzie Berman.
And the new favorite.
Yes.
Can't forget that.
Yes. Jose's passed on the crown.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you have competition. I'm glad he didn't take it
Yes.
and put it over willingly. It's easier that way.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're that Tuesday crew. We're going to be talking about special features in comics. So essentially, that means is all the additional, included in things you'll see in the little bubble in the bottom right corner of your collection or your trade. The additional pages, additional features that you'll end up seeing. The centerfold full print magazines, the original art pages, all that fun stuff that companies use to make you rebuy the same issues in a different format, as well as other additional marketing shticks. But before we get into that, we do have our usual. Do we have any housekeeping to do? I don't think so. Nothing new on the website because I was drinking some cactus in the desert, so no post up there. Nothing new. We do have keep your eyes tuned though. There is a Kickstarter, I believe, that is currently in the
Pipeline.
in the fumigating stages. It's not fully coalesced into a solid state. It's still gaseous at the moment. But until that, we have our usual icebreakers. So I've been out for a little bit. So we'll start over with the far side of the screen for me. Mackenzie, what have you been reading, watching, playing, listening to,
Oh goodness.
existing with?
Well, this week I've been I guess over the weekend since the last talk, I've been working on a lot of my own content.
Okay.
So I can't say that I've been doing anything besides my own content for the last week. So that's really exciting.
Absolutely.
I think that's even more exciting than watching new content made by others. I'm making my own.
There you go. Cool. What have you been up to?
A lot of work. It's
Yeah.
playoff time, so a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's about it. Trying to think if I haven't even caught up. I've missed 2 episodes of Moon Knight, so I haven't even caught
Yeah.
up on that yet.
That's fair. How many lions or wildcats have you drawn recently?
OMG, dude. I've been doing so many things, especially like class stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Class of seniors, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
I feel like every state has at least like 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a list of mascots, and I'll do a mascot line, which normally we usually try to get the major ones like eagles, bulls, because there's
Yeah.
always a lot of those. But no, it never fails. It never fails. I'll complete a mascot line or a line of designs, and somebody will order, well, we're the Arkansas Beavers, or we're the Penguins, or
Yeah.
You'll never guess my high school mascot.
Let me see. Aardvarks.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that'd been dope.
I don't know anyone that's the aardvarks.
Platypuses.
No, I was the
Oh.
Iron Men.
Ah.
Really?
That's
because
dope.
we were an iron town that my town invented the T-rail that trains go on.
Oh yeah.
So instead of Main Street, we have Mill Street and all of that, and we're very proud of it. So we're the Iron Men.
There you go.
So was the mascot like a workman or something, or because I know
yeah. So we really had a logo, which was honestly, like Arm & Hammer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It used to be that for ever, and then copyright things started to get involved, so they got it redesigned. So it's pretty much that version, and then we just have a work our mascot that we have is a workman that carries a hammer.
What a lot of people don't know is a few years ago, probably around 2010, colleges got, even though they had shared mascots with several high schools around the country for years, and I'm talking decades.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of universities, and I don't even know who started it, they started getting really serious about making people buy, and making people take down and change mascots.
That happened all through our area, yeah. But like I said, ours was so unique. They just got a little nervous with it being the Arm & Hammer, so they redesigned it. Still pretty much the same logo, but our colors are orange and purple because of when they would put the iron in the fire, it would turn purple and all that. So we have a lot of history behind ours. So ours was safe.
There you go. Mine, somewhat similar but different vein. My town was very much like an orchard vineyard type places, so we were the prune pickers.
Oh, that's so cute! Oh,
prune pickers.
I love it.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it was the West Marion Trojans. Trojan man.
Right.
Awesome.
I imagine that the high school band at McKinsey's school had to learn like Black Sabbath's Iron Man. I was like,
oh yeah, that was our like go-to, and then everybody was pissed when like Iron Man became a superhero, like a known superhero, because they're like, we're not Iron Man, we're Iron Men.
Right.
It was like, oh my god, yeah, Black Sabbath was like our our theme song. Let me tell you, it played everywhere.
Yep. We didn't really have any tie-ins with classical composition, so they just made us learn the most insane things a marching band could learn. So it was a lot of like Flight of the Bumblebee, Spitfire. Faust was the one that I nearly broke my back on with the being the walking bass drum.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God I wasn't in band.
Band and musical theater is a good time, but definitely all the stereotypes are true.
I don't care what people say. I was in the band for a couple years. Man, band people get nuts.
Oh yeah,
they get crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You just thought, you see all these movies of these football players and stuff having all these parties and stuff. Let me tell you what, these band folks. You may think they're a little nerdy folks sometimes, and no offense to any of them out there, they're not. Boy, they party.
Yeah, it's because you spend at least 2 hours on school, we're studying composition, and then several hours after school having to practice and rehearse composition. So, there you go. Mr. Roy Boyle played piano and marching band until I threw me back out. That's.
Till he threw us back out. Did that really happen?
Yeah. I mean, depending on
it does matter that your posture. It's just like drawing. I have lower back issues from an old accident, and it does matter. Posture does matter.
But also, if he was one of the walking keyboards, because that's like with the walking bass drum or the walking timpani, that is several dozens of pounds extra that you're trying to negotiate.
I was in band. I was in sports, and I got a sports injury to my spine. So
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, not fun. That ended my sports career, but got me into writing. So here I am.
There you go. I was gonna say. As far as what I've been up to, I've been working in the desert, so I didn't have any of my usual accoutrement with me. They did make the mistake of booking as a company hotel though, and they made the mistake of booking me right across from the Barnes and Noble.
Oh boy!
So I needed to get a book per diem, but I picked up. But a couple weeks ago, I was reading World War II history by Anthony Beaver, and they actually had another one of his books there, which is on the Last Stand at Arnhem by the British 1st Airborne, which was, I believe, considered one of the most dramatic airborne action to take place during the Second World War. Their unit being surrounded for 4 days, holding out against two German panzer armies, and unable to get relieved by the British and American Armored Corps that's supposed to be advancing to relieve them during Operation Market Garden. And eventually they fought until they're out of ammunition and sent out the last radio message, out of ammo, God save the king, and proceeded to spend the rest of the day fighting until they had no more ammo.
Oh my gosh.
So pretty interesting story. And that and a book on Thaddeus Stevens that I've yet to crack open, but former U.S. I believe senator during Reconstruction. I was looking forward to reading that. But besides that, just been watching YouTube videos.
That's me. While I work, I have stuff playing in the background. As far as the stuff I've had going in the background, it's been like a game that I had slipped past me. It's evidently it's been out for a while, but it's Dead Side. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I have not.
No.
It's similar to Daisy.
Okay.
But it's more military.
Okay.
It's not just survival. It's not actually. It's got some survival elements in it, but there's no zombies. It's about going around doing missions and stuff. It's really cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah, I need to stay away from it. That's the lesson here.
Is that why you were late?
No, I was just late because a wizard is never really late. Isn't that what Gandalf said? He arrives precisely when he means to.
Yeah. I did play a little bit of whatever I could when I got back. Ended up catching something while I was out working, so I've been mostly bedridden. But when I've had energy to come down, I've played a little bit of Total War Warhammer 3 or No Man's Sky, since they're both on Game Pass. So no investment for myself required.
Do you like No Man's Sky?
I'm enjoying it.
I know it had a okay.
Yeah,
I know it had a controversial release.
Yeah,
but I've heard by several sources that it is finally, it's really good.
It's at the trajectory that I'm hoping Halo Infinite has, where it rebounded in its later years. But yeah, it definitely launched rough. It did not have nearly what they promised, but it has been updated and put together, and is it's a very cozy game. So it's if you have like minimal energy or just trying to like burn 30 minutes of being brain dead, you can it's that for you. But it's oh god, what did Hutch call it today? Minecraft for adults. Yeah. It's definitely those kind of vibes. Just get on for 30 minutes, build a space house. Yeah.
Build a space house.
Space house, yep. But there actually is a story to it, which speaking of story crafting and creative energy involved, but the story is it seems almost like the new Prey, where it's another dimension invasion type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate any time a story warps realities or does cross-dimensional weirdness. It's just fun concepts the way you can play with that, especially when you actually look into how you can integrate elements of string theory or chaos theory into a narrative. And that's been I've been up to. So if that has been our catch up, we'll get into tonight's topic.
Now we'll get into the mustard.
The mustard, yeah.
Mustard.
We'll get
dad humor there.
Yeah. And get into the salami of the situation.
Yes.
And that is the including of additional features or using extra bonus whatever content in comics, collections, trades, what have you, or as swag bags at your booth to market or otherwise add value to comics. So added value is nothing new, especially for media.
Anything.
But deluxe editions, collector's editions, this has been around.
Variant covers.
Yeah. And you always see like the big thing I remember was the you'd see like the Spider-Man annual or whatever, and it'd say full-size poster in the comic.
Yeah.
And it's just the centerfold you'd rip out and tape to your wall.
Yeah.
Special offers like mail-in stuff and that's something action figures used to do years ago that they don't do anymore.
Yeah, that was how Wizards in D&D kind of popped up. Like once they started like because gave the AD&D pamphlet to bookstores in the 80s. And then after that, they were like, there's a thing at the end where it's like, hey, if you want like more, mail into this address, and you'd get the Wizards monthly or and then eventually ended up turning into like the different books and pamphlets you'd get sent out to you was the mail in for these additional features. So coming up, what are some of your like memorable standouts with added features or like favorites? These favorites is something that kind of stuck with you.
None I can think of off the top of my head. I know I discovered a lot of things through the ads and stuff. I always thought some of the stuff was quite gimmicky, but I mean I understood it. That it was they were trying to hook you. Which is what we strive to do is hook people in. Anything that'll work. I mean, cereals do it with putting toys in there. Boy, isn't that fun?
Yes.
Getting down to the it's like you're supposed to eat the cereal first and get to the prize, but the
I used to, when Revenge of the Sith came out, I had so many of those lightsaber spoons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had my parents buying me, and I still have them because I was a nerd.
Yeah.
I am a nerd. I ripped off they had every different characters on the boxes. I cut them all out so I could get them, and then I'd keep the spoons.
I binged Taco Bell just for those cups. You remember they had the little figures on top of the cups?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have a box somewhere that is full of the Burger King toys for Revenge of the Sith.
I do too.
Yeah.
The other thing I have. Oh, and my well, she's dead. They can't come after her. So my nan, she was a fair, she'd always say, well, if God didn't want me to take it, he would have had someone stop me, because I'd be like, that's stealing.
Yeah,
it's God's
I've heard that one.
And she'd be like, if he wanted me not to have it, he would have stopped me. So okay, Nan. So she ripped off how Burger Kings used to have those old sunrooms.
Yeah.
And they had the sticky posters. She ripped off them. To give me. So I have them.
Nice.
And that my nan got me. But it's fine.
Yeah, that's great.
Remember those.
And perhaps a more legal version of that. Our local theater chain got a double order of Venom posters from Sony when they were when Venom came out. So they literally just had these giant tables full of extra boxes of posters that Sony just sent us these and we have no space for them. So take whatever you want. So I have theater only posters for Venom in my garage.
When I worked out in Los Angeles, anything that came through the office, didn't want, I was like, can I have that?
Yes.
Please. That's where I got most of mine.
Perfect. Yeah. The thing that probably stuck out to me the most, as with many nerds back in the day, was when PC Magazine started including demo discs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I remember us getting the Unreal Tournament 2 demo disc. That was a foundational moment in my upbringing.
That's why I got Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to like that too. We used to have, and you could they had for PCs they had what was called, I think it was freeware or shareware or something like that, and they would have a demo of another game.
Yeah.
And I know PlayStation was the first ones that I remember putting actual demos on the game. I remember the first demo I played like that was Soul Reaver.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And I remember I loved that game, and I wish I could have played more of it. And and then I did play it, and that's what got me going through consoles. Going from PS1 to PS2 to PS3.
Yeah. I mean, if we got into vampire stuff, I'm sure Jose would be bummed to miss out. But Legacy of Kain, great vampire story. It's a great game.
Yes, I love it.
Mist is Royal Ships again. We've had the Mist demo CD, amazing. Mist was very good. Yeah, very much kind of it perfectly encapsulated a time in gaming and in narrative. It's kind of like become like a legendary story. Even though not much story happening on the surface level, there's a lot happening beneath the surface, but the experience definitely was if people know, they know. It's definitely something that's brought up. All right, we got some art on screen now. If I'm guessing correctly, this is Night Rise.
Night Rise, yes. Yeah. I've been doing concept art to nail down some things I was wondering about, and some colors for the colorist. So this may not be the final, but and by the way, this is all really loose. It's not really tight like a toiga.
Thick, solid, and highly tight.
But yeah, this first page is taking a while, but just because I am trying to, a lot of stuff that's being, a lot of stuff gets established on the first page.
Yeah.
Especially when it's the first page of something ever. So
yeah.
Definitely.
And we have such a dark vibe for this.
Yeah.
You want to establish that without going across too much.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate the aesthetic, everything. With currently working my way through Elden Ring, the dark fantasy aesthetic right now is very much my jam at the moment, and I'm sure also it's very much in the cultural zeitgeist.
Oh, that's another one that I'm having to really, really steer clear from, because it's one that that's like one of my games. That's the kind of game I would be playing.
Yeah, I know that's for sure. Imagine once you get some more time here coming up later in the year, we might lose Quentin for a little bit. He might be lost trying to forge the Elden Ring.
I've got a list, man. I've got a list.
That's okay. When Hayden Christensen comes back onto my screen in May, you people will not see me.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm just appreciating the Nicolas Cage renaissance that's happening right now.
I agree.
Yes, I've been watching all of his interviews, and I'm like, he's it feels like Nicolas Cage has ascended in this last year.
However, I'm still really salty about the first time I was going to work on set, or maybe my second. It was supposed to be with him, and he just never showed up.
Oh, interesting.
That was during his bad years.
Oh yeah.
So has he got new movies coming out or something? The reason why he's
there's a new movie that's come out. Well, we had Pig that came out last year, which I actually need to watch because that is apparently just a very well done, technically and narratively movie. For someone who's known for his influence from German expressionism, apparently it is modern expressionism. So I need to watch that. And Jeff Potts came across my wife from the CDs not too long ago. Nice. That's dope. But he has a movie just came out called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is a writer had kind of wanted to do something about the mythology of Nicolas Cage. They wrote a movie directly for him.
Very abstract take on filmmaking,
and and everyone told him even the producers you're not going to get Nick Cage. We'll try to get someone like him. Nick Cage saw it and was like, "All right, yeah, sure."
Yep.
And so yes, they recently before Pig, he was in a string of 3 movies that were Lovecraftian cosmic horror, and those were actually phenomenal. I think The Color from Outer Space was one of them. Mandy was another. There's another one. I saw Mandy. I haven't seen Color from Outer Space yet. God, it's interesting, man. Oh no, actually, flip those around. I saw one, but not the other. But and then there's a third one which I have to watch as well. But it's a very weird vibe where Nick Cage kind of entered a rebirth in 2016, being the cosmic horror method actor, and then he got some more serious roles and was really good at selling those and being, highly expressionist. And
yeah, the first movie that I remember him being on was Raising Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, he played in a string of movies. I mean, one after the other of just different characters. And he was such a just flamboyant character actor. I mean, his characters were always just over the top.
Yes.
Yeah. And whenever he did The Rock, though, that was it. Whenever he was
so excited though to hear that Disney is trying to like do like the rest of National Treasure.
Oh yeah.
I've been waiting for that third one to figure out what was on page, what was it, page 47 of the President's Book. I'm like, give it to me.
Yeah, I actually really like that movie.
Yeah.
I think both of them are really well done.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those things that, like, when it first came out, it was just kind of like, it felt like the average campy action fare of the time, but like it had staying power
that one became a national treasure.
Yes. Yeah, it had staying power that other contemporaries just did not have. That's the same thing like Evil Dead.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, I always liked Indiana Jones and it, and that whole niche, and it really fulfilled that for me,
Yeah. Definitely. Kind of got off there, but so additional features. Obviously in comics, those, in cars, was the cup holder, and now it's like the parking sensors and all that. In comics, we also have a very wide and eclectic string of additional features, either at the con table or in the book itself.
Mm-hmm.
I already kind of mentioned the the pull-out centerfold for the full-size poster. But I don't. Have you guys?
I used to buy 2 copies so I could have some that I could pull the poster out and put it on my wall, and then have one that kept the poster safe. That's how freak I was.
Yes. So I don't know. With when you guys are looking at getting something like either standard as opposed to a collector's, or when if you already have the run of something and you see the trade or the collection come out and it has those additional things, I'll be honest, sometimes just having the hardback is enough for me to rebuy something. But for you, what are some of your, like, if you see that, or what are some things where, like, if you see it, you have to get the collectors as opposed to the
tell you one example. When I was first, the only, like, I'm not ashamed to say this, the only, like, comic book series I have from beginning to end is, like, all the Darth Vader ones.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got into it, I got a hardback book at like Barnes & Noble or BAM or something, and it was like 1 through 10, and it was in the hardback book. And
I don't mean to cut you off here, but because this book is going to print here soon, I wonder who that could be. Maybe it could be our latest successful Kickstarter. And if you're watching right now and you have not done your survey, do it. Tommy,
do it.
So Tommy can kiss your book and send it on its way.
But I remember, like, I wasn't into things. I didn't know how that worked. And then I was like, oh, this is part of a series. And I went and got the rest, and just regular. And then as my collection grew, I started, like, saying, okay, what one am I missing and whatnot. And then I figured out that, like, oh my gosh, because I bought 1 through 10 as a hardback and all the rest are okay, I need to go and get 1 through 10 as, like, regular copies
right.
and everything else. So, like, I spent way too much money on completing that collection.
Yeah.
And then when I figured out they had, like, special arts and all that, oh.
Well, for me, like the last, I think one, or not the last, but the one that I remember probably most vividly it really wasn't even like anything that they actually did that they put on the cover. But there's an artist named Scott McDaniel, and he did a run. He used to do a lot of Nightwing, but he used to have a website that would teach people how to do comics, and man, so helpful. That's where I picked up a lot of the stuff that techniques and stuff that I use, and he just threw it out there for anybody. And this is back, when the internet's really first becoming a real solid information tool. Or when I first found it anyway, to be an information tool. But anyway, he did this run on Batman. I had to get all of them. And he doesn't even have artwork like what I normally. I don't know. It was just having that initial contact through that I got to looking at his artwork, and I really got to studying it. And he does this awesome curvilinear perspective that he does it so good. But anyway, I picked up, I think he did I don't even know how many he did, because I don't know how many I missed, but I know I picked up probably about 12 issues over time of that. That's probably the longest that I have stayed on something as it was coming out. Like actually waiting at the store and asking, hey, is this,
hey, do you have this?
Yeah. Stalking, store people.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, because it's not even necessarily a feature that's in the book itself. It's the it's the additional added value that the creators put on a different medium altogether.
Yeah.
And I think that's a thing too. That's why they put the creators' names at the top, so people know, hey,
you
like Roland Man? Check it out. He did this book. You like Thomas Flormonte Jr.? Yeah. You like Tim TK?
Yes. And that's something that's it seems to be more so true in comics than in some other mediums. They're the name value has such a weird relation to it. Obviously, you have your A-list actors of it, but the comment that I just recently watched. Actually, I did watch The Northman. Actually, that's something new that I watched that I probably should have mentioned. I watched The Northman by Robert Eggers, who was not the most well-known director, but enough that I want to watch his stuff because he did The Lighthouse, and that was a trip. The comment that I've seen from other critics looking at The Northman is that the A-list actors actually detracted from the rest of the movie because they didn't meld into the role enough. They're a little too recognizable.
Yeah.
And so whereas Alexander Skarsgård is just vague enough that he's able to really disappear into the role. But some of the others like Ethan Hawke, not so much. But so in movies you can't get the thing where sometimes you want see people without a whole lot of pull in their name value. You don't want to know the actors going into it. Books, it's very much your favorite writers, but other than that, it's mostly actually the cover that will sell you on a book. But when you go to a comic, everyone always mentions the writer and the penciler. That's it's always sometimes it gets broken down by the shop will put the actual name of the run underneath the writer and the penciler's names. Just because that whoever people follow on Twitter, Instagram, that's who they want to pick up their book from, and the comic content itself can just kind of float underneath that.
Yes. Yep. Well, I know that when they do that with directors as well, for movies, and it's really because it really is a lot the same. Because whenever you're writing or even to the penciler, they're laying out the stuff that's being written. It really is, that's what's driving it, is those two people.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of the same thing. Comics are a little different, but like we were just talking about all of this. Sometimes there's like, and I say it's like a gateway. Like sometimes it's the actor that pulls you into that movie. Like you follow the actor, but like, you know, think about, and I don't know why Avatar, it's like James Cameron Avatar.
Yeah.
Like these people that put, like, especially nowadays with the directors that put their name on things and people like them, they don't need to get that A-list celebrity into their film, because it's like, oh, we know this actor or we know this director, we can like get him in. And I feel like it just trickles down, and they all have similarities. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's like, oddly enough, I feel like the Dune movie only existed because of the amount of name value that got attached to it. I mean, you had Denis Villeneuve, who just came off of creating a cult following around Blade Runner 2049. Like, whether or not you loved it or hated it, it got its cult following and did well. And then he knows Oscar Isaac and Jason Momoa. Josh Brolin wanted to work on it. And then, you know, once they're able to get, and that was enough to get it like through enough. And then, you know, once they got Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya attached to it, that was kind of, you know, done deal. Any producer would be salivating to get their hands on that project.
Well, and like, even, you know, that's a good example. But like, I remember when they did Dunkirk, and they wanted to get more than just war fanatics in there, and that's why they put Harry Styles in it, because they were like, oh, teenage girls and 20-year-olds will go see this war movie just because Harry Styles is in it.
Yeah.
Like, if you get a name, you get a whole different target audience.
Especially a name like Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Well, the teenage girl should have been there for the biggest heartthrob, which is wow, I'm blanking on his name now.
Hayden Christensen.
Oh wow. Tom Hardy.
I stick by Hayden Christensen.
That's true, but I mean, I'll say like Tom Hardy, that man. I would love to be carried in his arms at any point in my life.
Okay, well, you have him. I'll take Hayden.
Perfect. Yeah, but kind of what I was saying. In Dune's case, ended up becoming such a dream project, but after the events of like the original Dune movie, that's been in talks for like 30 years and known to touch with a 20-foot pole.
Yep.
Because like, who saw how well the last adaptation went, and we're not trying to do that again.
Well, it's a property that's had so much potential, and it's just been sitting idle for so long because it you know, it did so badly the first time around. But you know, I really think it was a mistake at the time anyway to, you know, when they actually finally did do it, you know, because of the time frame they were in. I mean, competing with some, you know, Star Wars and all that stuff. I mean,
definitely.
Yeah. Not a good time for bringing out a sci-fi space movie. That void was filled with people, I believe. You know, between the same thing, I think Star Trek, you know, the motion picture fell into the first one, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Definitely. And it definitely found its niche more so in the TV market.
Yep.
But so we kind of established that, you know, the names attached to either creatives or people attached to a project can also be, you know, almost that additional feature or that bonus feature to your project. That a little bit of, you may not get it for the actual subject of the material, but you'll get it for this feature, which is, you know, this character or this creator.
Yeah.
So sort of materially, when you get to think about, like, you know, another thing that gets used a lot for especially for movies, but also sometimes happens, it's been happening more in comics as well, I've noticed, and especially in the hardback collections, but the creator commentary, you know, a class to go to for like collector's edition movies is the that. But something that I actually really appreciate about like getting the hardback in comics is they'll have like the last 5 pages will be letters between the writer and the editor, or the writer and the artist, and that will be like the artist breaking out like when I saw like the text from the script as opposed to what they penciled, and it'll be breaking out like what they're thinking as they're going through it. And I've really been appreciating like reading those. So, what are you guys kind of thoughts on those kind of material, or are there any standout examples of that you really like? For me, it's for sure got to be House of X, Powers of X. They have commentary in the back there, which I absolutely loved.
I think
that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen that or noticed it. No, that'd be really nice though.
Yeah. What about movies then? Is there any type of like movie where you felt the commentary really added value to the experience?
I wouldn't say on my part that it added value, but like I feel like my first, and this is gonna be so typical, but it was like I remember like when Twilight came out and it was the whole Twilight phase and whatnot, and like that when they did like the commentary for the Twilight movie and it was like the actors and the director like speaking throughout the entire movie, like that was the first time I ever had that experience, and it was just something I was so in love with, and it's like I wanted more and I wanted more, and you have to wait a whole year or so for another movie. You're trying to get whatever you can out of it, and you want to know the little details, you want to know about deleted scenes, you want to know about other takes, you want to know all of this stuff. And I feel like that was my first experience with it, because like then they came out with like the director's behind the scene book that went with that stuff, and of course I bought it all. But like that was my first experience with wanting stuff that bad, and then it's like when you figure out you love something, you can get more of the details and more of that behind the scenes and more of that.
That's me. If I'm sold on it, I love extra content.
And I feel like
but the extra content doesn't really sell me on something. But if I like it, man, I'm so happy to get that.
Yeah, that's where I feel.
So definitely something that you find actual enjoyment or value in that once you've already bought into the property.
After I've bought into it, like for instance, I've got books, the art of certain games. And there's some games I haven't even played, but I think they just look amazing. And I buy these art of Diablo 3. I've got several art of Diablo 3s. I've got several of all the Darksider games, even the ones I haven't played. I have the art of Darksiders, and it just I love that stuff. And like I love any kind of lore stuff. For instance, I've never read the Silmarillion. But I would love to, and because I love Lord of the Rings, that is something that I will do eventually. That is something that is going to happen. Yeah, that's going to happen one of these days.
Speaking of fucking the set, we do have the Silmarillion there in front of my uniform re-release Lord of the Rings books.
Well, I feel like another thing they do besides, and I don't know if you were getting to this, I apologize, Tim. Like another thing they do along with the commentaries is like they do tie-ins now, and it's like actually what happened. You have to like get the tie-in, like you have to go and buy this series that you weren't interested in, and sometimes you get interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually a good example of that for me was, and this is actually what got me into Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit, was their time with X-Men in the Black Vortex. The art was it was weird interdimensional stuff, like I mentioned before, that like goes into like the cosmology of the Marvel Universe in a way that almost the same way that they do in the Dark Souls, where they clearly allude to its power, but they don't explain where it comes from, why it exists, or where it's going. And I think that's kind of perfect for when you're doing something on that level.
You're like, I love it. I'd be driven nuts. I'd be like, tell me everything.
But just having to deal with the X-Men there, and then there was one art style and one issue in particular. But once those got me in the door, I was like, okay, now I actually need to like buy some Guardians comics.
Yeah.
And then clearly I loved it so enough that I bought the hardback collection once it came out. I'm trying to find that art style because it's actually very dope.
That's kind of like me with the Darth Vader comics, like they got in like Dr. Alfra.
Dr. Alfra, yeah.
Yeah, I like love her now.
She's great. She's also in the Bounty Hunter Wars.
Yeah, I have that too because like I started to like her because they tied it in, and I was like, fine, I'll buy it so we know what's happening. And then I was like, oh, I dig her.
Right. But yeah, it's this kind of well, not really, but for me, the added feature of this was the art style, kind of like the hyper saturated soft lines.
Yeah,
very cool. But and then the weird little things that can get you to buy into something. But yeah, the tie-ins for sure, especially for like the big two and to a lesser extent, Image Dark Horse and 2000 was it 2000 AD, who also do that where I think actually 2000 AD is doing something just like that just recently with they're doing like an 8-part series. I think it's called like Task Force Violence or something like that. Where they're doing like, you know, kind of 8 legendary figures from action stories past either they run or have been in movies and stuff, and they're kind of running them all together as one mini series, which I think is
who's doing that?
2000 AD.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of a cool way of
not
only like marketing the series and giving you that fun added value for people who like have been fans of those like characters in the past, but also like concept creation that like as a like at a core.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. And for me, I think that's I find the most enjoyment from additional features or added value projects from when it's actually like tied into the core of what something is. So like I don't know if anyone has experience with it, but the kind of one that everyone who's played Halo will talk about is the I Like Bees campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Where leading into Halo 2, there was an ARG altered reality game to essentially solve a puzzle that started with the phrase "I love bees," and it had to do with kind of like the in Halo, there are these AIs that will that manage the defense of Earth and humanity, and sometimes they have to talk in cryptic methods because they end up going through something called rampancy, which is where they start to lose their mental faculties. And so the idea was that this was all a campaign put together by one of these AIs to get people to defend Earth from the Covenant invasion by putting together the string of incoherent codes that's the only way they can communicate. And so that's what got the character of the Superintendent, which actually ended up becoming very, integral to the Halo lore. But is this weird little marketing gimmick that was actually tied into the core of the Halo story going into it, which I thought was very cool. But other things like that, or when you get to we kind of did that with Wolf Hunter to some extent, in that some of the marketing on other parts of the social media platforms were either in code or were just recordings from the Battle of Dover, and actually bringing in these fun little like bits of like history download or like and when we're doing with the additional feature that we're writing for it now, which is the history edition, which is one of the core concepts of Wolfhammer is it's historical spy fiction. So going in and doing an additional feature or bonus feature product that is just going over the history of spies in the time period.
Yeah.
I'm actually really enjoying that. And I think other people who enjoy that concept are going to like it as well.
I don't know, Tim. I don't know.
Quinn's like, oh.
I don't know, man.
Quinn's over it. What Quinn needs is another full-scale rendering from the inside of a cathedral.
Yes.
That's what will sell him.
Yeah. Next time I want to do Big Ben. I've actually had to draw Big Ben before. A detailed draw. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Those things, that architecture is painfully detailed.
Yeah.
I always think about the guys that do Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
Well, that's another thing is like, a part of their marketing is like that the since Assassin's Creed 2 is that it's always 1-to-1 scales of the cities that they're working in.
Yeah.
Recreated to the best of their knowledge. So, if you're
like when not to interrupt you, when the Notre Dame burned down, they offered the plans from the game because they had detailed it so extensively that they were like, here, take the plans from our game because you can rebuild it based on that. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane because that was, even though it was buggy as all heck on release, Assassin's Creed Unity, the one in Paris, as someone who has like studied extensively the French Revolution, and the storming of the Bastille, before I went to school for writing, I was going to school for history, and my study was the Renaissance and the onset of modernity. So it was everything from 1700s on to 1950. I had to study in depth, and so like going through and playing their game and actually seeing like all these things that like I have like read treaties on and stuff was actually like that was one of the selling points for me as a history nerd was enjoying that.
Because like I am the exact same way because like on accident, I didn't realize this till a lot later. When I went to before I went to Full Sail, the college that I went to, like you had to fill up with electives, and I like unfortunately, well not unfortunately, but I thought it was annoying at the time. Like they just threw me in a lot of history stuff for whatever reason. And but I chose it, but I didn't realize it at the time. And then eventually they were like, you're literally like 2 credits away from having an associate's in history. And I still am. And I'm like, one day I might go back and get it, but because I'm not that far away from having it. And I didn't realize it, but like, I didn't realize how much I love that stuff until like, I was usually using it in stories. I was seeing it in games. Oh my God. I was like, oh, I love it.
Absolutely. I know, Quentin, you are a bit of a armor buff, an armament buff. So when you're either like, I imagine part of what sold you on creating Night Rise is being able to work on fun dark fantasy armor, but when you're looking at other projects to look in art, is that something like will get you to give it like a deeper glance? Is the look of like the design of the armor or like the weaponry involved or anything like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I don't know what it is, sometimes it's just sometimes it's the art style, but sometimes it is just really the design that goes in. And sometimes if a design is different, sometimes if it seems like it looks a little like something else but better. And I just, with like, for instance, in Darksiders, I love just Joe Madura's. How do you say his name?
I think it's Madura.
Madura. I just love his style. It's kind of WoW, but it's different.
All right.
It's kind of a lot of stuff, but it's not. I just love his art style and him doing armor and stuff and fantasy and dark fantasy. Love it. I mean, oh my goodness, it's so good. Diablo, I like that. I like their art style. And matter of fact, they kind of the same, just a little in some ways. Yeah, definitely. As far as fantasy goes, the armor really gets me every time when I see it. I mean, Yeah, that's definitely a huge deal. Just the character design. You know, something that I didn't know that I'm only just recently realizing is because I've always, whenever I do my artwork, I usually, when I color stuff, I usually take a little bit of the saturation out, or I
Mhm.
have for years up till several months ago. I've just recently noticed just how many colors and how much color is in stuff, and it. Um, Sometimes I used to think that there was too much color
Right.
in everything, but I got to doing my own stuff and doing it a lot, and I got to noticing that things were looking a lot the same-ish, and it was
Right.
only because if you do unsaturated colors so much and you put everything together, then everything's unsaturated. Well, unsaturated means that the gray level is very high.
Yes.
So everything kind of looks the same.
We don't want
Go
that.
figure.
Yeah.
So if you have colors that pop, then it kind of guards. So you have to really make a real good balance there. I'm finding. But anyway,
Sure.
just a tangent that.
So then, from your perspective, if you're to see something that, some of your franchises that you really like the design of, like if Darksiders were to sell replicas of, War's swords.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you got him.
Yeah. The amount of times that I nearly dropped
I'd be right up on top of that stuff.
Yeah, to buy they have one they had one last time. It was at like our local sword shop, which why does every mall have a sword shop? But
Wait, you have a local sword shop?
If you go to a mall, I feel like every mall has a sword shop for whatever reason.
I've never been to a mall with a sword shop.
Man, but they had like war sword or something.
So,
that thing is chunky, man. That thing is huge.
Yeah, they had that. They had the Frostmourne from WoW.
Oh man.
And the one of the curved blade swords from Stormlight Archives. I forgot their names.
I want to know what mall you freaking go to that they have sword shops.
They never last long, but like it's always like in and out. But like I feel like every mall that I've been to over here, and then also in Orlando, they've always had a sword shop in for some point, and then they leave. But then it's usually like they also have like the weird knickknack, like Hollywood knickknacks in one corner, full like the metal poster sheets on one side, and then just like swords and knives behind the counter. And it doesn't make any sense, but for some reason there's always swords.
Like Gander Mountain.
It's weird, but
a lot of these, a lot of the stuff, if it's the kind that I've seen before that's in the mall, there a lot of it is like Oriental trading stuff. I mean, it's like kind of cheapy stuff, but it looks really cool. But I mean, you couldn't practically use any of the stuff. Like you wouldn't want to be in the zombie apocalypse getting a mall sword, to try to.
No, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks really cool on your wall, and it would cut you, and you could kill somebody with it.
Yeah.
But
it's primarily designed is to be put up on the display rack.
Yes.
Yes.
And let's hope it stays there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, if we ever got into like the point where like there's a news story about someone getting into Duel and they had like 2 massive replica swords from like fantasy projects, that'd be
well, I used to watch a lot of crime shows, and there was a few times on there, where people had committed murders with, a ninja katana that wasn't really a ninja katana, that was bought, by a master ninja katana maker.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. I have Napoleon Dynamite's katana. I have that. I found that.
That's cool.
Like, wait, yes, it's really the same thing. Where like it's something that was like spent like $30 to order off Amazon or whatever. I found like, yes, of course I want
it. I didn't know I needed this, but it's coming home.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for then for me, from my perspective, like not only creating it, but when the project can then also offer that fantasy insight or whatever to go along with it, or not fantasy, but historical insight to go along with it, or That's what I'm saying. Even if it's like fantasy history.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the World of Warcraft Chronicles up there where from Dark Horse, where they go into the history of Azeroth and like, here's how the creation mythos works here, and explaining like the ancient history of how a video game world came about. That stuff will absolutely get me.
Yeah, you're like, that is my jam.
Yes.
Well, there's some things, that I'll give a hard pass to, but it can be one really cool thing to be like, whoa, wait a tick. Wait just a second. What is this? And then I start that'll really get me every time when I see, if I can just see one thing that really, really catches my eye.
Oh yeah.
Then hey, I may end up going, hook, line, and sinker for something,
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I love well-designed stuff. I love well-designed stuff. But I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer. Of course, people do. But I will say too, also, that there's plenty of well-designed stuff that I see it from afar, but I never buy it. I think it's really cool, and I think it's really interesting, and there's thousands of people who love it, but I don't. It just doesn't, for some reason, it just doesn't resonate with me, like it would somebody else.
And it's kind of where like the subjectivity of like art in general kind of comes into, is, for some people, Star Wars exists enough for them to watch episodes 4 through 6, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or as opposed to like, Mackenzie and myself were, we have literally bought bookshelves of extra content or paid someone to ink Star Wars related stuff onto our skin.
Did you see my life-size Darth Vader that I bought?
Did you post on Facebook?
You weren't here last week, Tim.
You weren't here last week. I gave a tour.
Wow,
She's got her full-size, fully clothed Hayden Christensen.
I know, it's wonderful. I'm gonna bring my cardboard cutout back into the house.
Yeah. Do you imagine that he's under there?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just sit there and go, I'd be the only one happy with that in my bedroom.
Oh my.
It's for the longest time I had the theater cutouts. More stuff I got for free from the theater. Of Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard, Prince Spiner as Commander Data, and William Shatner as Captain Kirk. And
that's cool.
I had those set up in my. Eventually got destroyed, unfortunately, but.
Oh, what?
I know.
What a turn in your story, man.
Yeah.
As that movement probably wrong, but those are some bonus features that I absolutely love having for several years.
I used to have this dog I really, really loved, and he died.
And then he got shot.
And then he died.
Yep. But we had an extension in the garage that got turned into living space, and those are set up there. And so if someone is spending the night or whatever, they'd be sleeping in the living room or sleeping in the den, and they just roll over and they'd see like Patrick Stewart just staring them in the face. And
yeah.
That's like the contractors came to put in I have it out in our side room, which is like attached to our garage, so it's kind of like a breezeway, but it's a room.
Yeah.
And we had, I forget it was like the cabinet guys came in that door and jumped because like the lights were off and Darth Vader was in the corner. Yeah. So when the counter guys came today, or I guess the counter guys came today, they were like, "Let me see it." And I was like, okay. And I walked them out, and here, like, the two pulled up the shirts, and they have Star Wars tattoos galore, and they were like, can we take photos with it? I was like, have at it.
My wife just got a clothes steamer, and it's got a rod, and you hang, like, you can hang your clothes on it.
Yeah.
She took it down because she doesn't like hang anything on it anymore because at night, and you're kind of half awake and half asleep, and your eyes adjust to the dark, but everything's still like silhouetted. You know, you don't want to see any shapes of people. Some people don't anyway. I'm sure Mackenzie doesn't mind seeing, of course, the shape of Darth Vader in her room.
I slept with my Hayden Christensen cardboard cutout in my room for years, so like I'm happy to have Darth Vader in my room.
It brings her comfort.
Yeah. It gets your mind off stuff.
Yeah, it's my stress relief.
Perfect. And I mean, that's also another thing is when you can get your whatever you've created big enough to the point where people are getting these.
Yeah, really getting involved and idolizing it.
These things which are intended as it's bonus material, these additional features, and you're like, no, this is like core to my being in my house right now.
Yeah.
Yes. I have it's over. It's way out of frame, but I have the Destiny. Oh, actually, no, it's right there. Okay, I have the Destiny 2 banner, which is covered. It's dark right now, but for holding pins and raid material and stuff like the rewards you can unlock by completing in-game content. So for that, plus the fact that I have the Destiny 2 cookbook, are kind of my claims to that. But perhaps looking at things that aren't necessarily as on the nose as replicas of swords or full-scale replicas of characters or Darth Vader from this video. Like a bunch of things have cookbooks like Destiny, and a lot of people buy it, including myself. So there's a lot of additional features that are kind of out of left field, but they just work in a way that they embrace the culture of the meme of it.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Am I interrupting you, Tim?
No, I set up the field.
I know with like toys.
Yeah.
It is a big deal that toys have like some sort of cartoon, comic book, movie, or something, to drive them. So that's a huge one, as far as, of course, you're actually trying to sell the property, not the toy. I mean, the toy is supposed to be tertiary, but sometimes the story is tertiary too.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to sell a toy. So, hey guys, come up with this story.
Yeah.
For it and make this cartoon, like G.I. Joe or Transformers or,
And Yu-Gi-Oh is also a great example of that. I heard kind of mention how that got created, that Magic the Gathering was running its beta in Japan, and the guy working at Konami doing the packaging essentially created like a parody of it. But before the parody like inside, I was like, no, we're going to turn that into a card game, and then you're going to make this into an anime because we need that to all come at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really weird thing where is the parody came first, the cards came second, and then the anime was kind of like just like the marketing afterthought, which ended up blowing up.
What came first?
Yeah.
Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know. Third base.
So, is there any sort of things that either like Kingsley might have something from Star Wars? It's related to something that is really like not at all close to the core concept. Like for me, it's Destiny, the shooting sci-fi epic fantasy exploration game, and I have its cookbook.
I have freaking Star Wars cookbooks. I like one expensive one is like we talked about this. I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or last week. Like I am a diehard PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play Xbox. It's when you get a game console, it's just like you stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
But they came out with that Star Wars edition Xbox, and I bought it. And it was R2D2, and when you hit it, it sounded like R2D2. I didn't play it. I just got it. And so I never played it.
There you go.
I was like, this is awesome. And Mom's like, what do you play on it? I was like, nothing. I just wanted it.
It's essentially just a very expensive plastic vase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you that one of the other things that they had me whipped on, which is kind of going back to an extreme thing that we are not talking about, but like when I was younger, my grocery store, I think they did it all throughout the United States, had an R2D2 cooler.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you could put your name in to win it. And oh my God, everyone in my town was putting my name into it because like everyone knows Star Wars. How old was I? Like 9. Like it was crazy. Like I went every single day, put my name in, and I lost it. And I never got it, and it broke my heart.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, one came up, and someone was like, "Hey, like, just letting you know, if you want this." It was an insane amount of money, and I was like, I have wanted that since it sat in the grocery store. I'm buying it. Like, they make the most weird. Do I need a cooler? No. But did they get me? Yes. Like, they just know how to get people.
Yeah.
I almost bought that Stormtrooper car they did when Rogue One came out. They did the Stormtrooper Rogue. I was like,
That's
yeah. Well, I am that way on a lot of stuff, like the comics. I mean, I've got so many Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
I haven't broken over into Spawn yet, but that's because I'm already collecting too much.
Right.
But yeah, there's that. I mean, I collect the figures. I mean, it has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
It's just, and I don't sit around like when I was a kid and play with them. Not often. But anyway, no, I mean, I'll pose them to put them on the shelf, and I'll make dioramas for them and stuff like that. When I was a kid, of course, I was banging them suckers together, and making up stories and, taking and, going everywhere in my imagination with them. I don't do any of that anymore, but I don't know. I guess I just have them for a representation of something I really liked, so yeah, there's that. I mean, if that kind of answers the question a bit.
I did find something that I want to run by Quinn in terms of like out of far left field, but it's still just kind of a fun additional offering from this franchise. Would you be interested in the Dark Souls coloring book?
I actually would. Yes. I totally would. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I saw it, but I'm like, I just looked up and confirmed it. Yes, there is actually a Dark Souls coloring book. I'm like,
you're kidding me. I gotta look this up.
I'll link it on our comments.
Do that. Yes. I had absolutely no idea they had a coloring book. That's the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah. This is there's been like a recent like trend of these these type of offerings of non-traditional adaptations of media, either as coloring books or what have you. And it has a market for it, clearly, but
coloring books have become a thing, man. Adult coloring books,
but it's definitely one of those things that when you think about like Dark Souls, the game known for being aggravating and like forcing you to like learn, adapt, and like overcome and like memorize patterns. And like, here's this nice, relaxing coloring book for you to meditate with.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yep. While you think about how to kill that boss.
Oh yeah. So there's definitely the kind of the full gambit of additional features or additional offerings that are tied in closely to the actual like core of the material, to being ancillary or just being not related at all and often left field. So yeah, we kind of that's and clearly they have the market, and we've all
and the idiots, because I am one.
It all kind of demonstrated the fact that we are all at some point addicted or committed to a franchise enough to buy their weird additional offerings and even include our own.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you hook me, I mean,
I think that every time I go to Disney World,
be
like, this is so overpriced. Okay, I'm staying for a week.
I'm building another lightsaber.
This is ridiculous. I need another.
Yes. So have you guys have you considered any at all additional features that you might offer alongside Night Rise when it goes to Kickstarter, or are you just kind of focused on getting it out first?
I don't think we've talked about Night Rise as much.
It's so early, but I tell you, there's so many things I would love to do.
Yeah. But it's funny, you don't even think of like my the film I've been working on since September that Quentin has helped on. Like we are launching our Kickstarter, and it was like, okay, what's things we can offer? And it's like you don't even think about things, because it was like somebody was like, oh, your storyboard, like why don't you get that printed into a book and offer that? And it's like I didn't even think about that. Like I didn't even think somebody would want that. Like I was thinking like, oh, we can do a t-shirt, oh, we can do this, but like there's literally so many things that people want, like original art, or there's so many options.
Well, it might be really fun with the Night Rise in particular, but and also since you do happen to have our resident game designer on your team, is a homebrew D&D setting or Pathfinder setting out of Night Rise.
Now, see, that's not a bad idea. You know, but like whenever I did do my game in the rule book, I've got a whole section in the back that has like some of the developmental art. Not a whole lot, but it's got some for people to look at and check out. Like, you know, hey, this is some of the artwork. So this is some of the artwork that got cut. This is some of the artwork. You know, it's not a lot right now on the hard rollout though. And I plan on going into having comics and all kinds of stuff, but I was doing all this stuff first before I do all that. So we'll see. But yeah, anything to add a little bit of value to things. And people who had saw the rule book with that stuff in the back there, they really enjoyed it. So I was happy, you know. And that's what I like to do is. It makes me happy while I work on it, and I like for people to be happy whenever they consume it, you know. And so
that's the core goals. I've said this before, but my idea of success is just to know that at some point, some kid picked up my book and had a fun afternoon.
Yep. And you know, of course, and you know, I mean, I'd be foolish or remiss not to say, you know, of course, I would like to make money at it. That's the cherry on top. But my main purpose of doing it is for, you know, to share it with people. I think it's cool. I like to share. You know, if I ate something that tastes really good, I'm not gonna, you know, hoard it all to myself. I want to, you know, share it with people. Hey, man, you got to go down there and try their hot dogs. They got hot dogs like you haven't even ever had before. Yeah, I love some good hot dogs.
If you're ever in the LA area, Pink's Hot Dogs.
Really?
Line.
I worked right down from them.
So the line is a bit much at times, but you know, if you're ever in the mood for an early morning hot dog, you can beat it.
Yeah, an early morning.
The classic early morning dog.
We went to the rodeo and fair over here a couple weeks ago, and we had our first deep fried Snicker bar.
Oh yeah!
And let me tell you, don't eat that because you'll be thinking about it. It'll be that for deep fried Snicker bar. That deep fried Snicker bar will be creeping into your dreams at night. I'm telling you, that thing was so good. It was so good. It's like manna from heaven.
I am going to beef with the Midwest here. Speaking of deep fried carnival food, Ohio in particular. Explain to me the deep fried mayonnaise.
Oh boy! Wow, I've never even heard of that.
I know there's a thing at our fair called the triple bypass, which is like like deep fried burgers, but it's like the most insane shit on this burger.
Yes.
But like, I never heard of regular mayonnaise.
It's only in the Midwest, and I don't.
I don't. You just leave it at that.
Yeah, but I did actually. While I was out in the over in Bend, I did find a. My Pacific Northwest is going to show you. There's a gastropub. That they made a really good Negroni. So if you enjoy gin cocktails, very good. It's called J-Dub, but also they have a donut burger. So
I've had, but not from there. But I've had a donut burger that I made.
Nice. But Yeah, there's a well-known donut shop in Bend called the Donut. Kind of like it's up there with Voodoo Donuts as far as like Oregon donut fame. But they have they source glazed donuts from there, and then slap a burger in it. So that was
slap a
so
burger
good.
In it all day.
Yeah. Those things are insanely good. It adds a level of taste that you've never had before. And that it actually, this is going to sound crazy, but it actually scared me when I ate it because it was so good.
Like, I want to do this more than once.
Yeah, it was like, I will never do this again because this is so good. I mean, this,
That's one of the things where like, this is my after marathon. This is like, once I get to the point where I can run a half marathon, this is my after running reward.
Yeah.
For me, that was like, adding that additional layer though. That's like when I discovered the and we're still talking about the bonus features here. Now we're talking about food. So it's going to be the rest of the show.
How does this happen?
This always happens.
Yeah, but I discovered this at a burger place in Orlando, and then I found out that other places have it here as well. But it's a peanut butter burger. So
I've never had a peanut butter burger.
So it's the same over. You're adding a level
of peanut butter.
You're adding a level of like sweetness, but it's not overwhelming. So it's that sweet contrasted with
it's weird what goes together.
Yeah,
that you think goes together.
Yeah. In particular, it's kind of like they did like the teriyaki style. Like at this one place, they did like a teriyaki style where you get teriyaki, they do have peanut butter sauce in there, but it's not actual peanut butter. They're peanut sauce. So it was peanut butter sauce mixed with A1 sauce on top of a burger with caramelized onions and a brioche bun. And oh my god,
you're like life changing.
yeah, exactly. But there are different ways you can do it. But yeah, it's that same where you're just adding different layers and they're just working together.
There's been a lot of stuff like that, stuff that goes together, like anything like salty and sweet.
Yes.
Whenever I was in high school and we would have break, I would go and get a bag of chips and a Snicker bar, and I would eat a bite of the Snicker bar and eat a couple chips. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but a friend came over to stay with me one time, and he was eating vanilla wafers with peanut butter on them, and I never imagined in a million years something like that going together. And I've had to like get people to taste that because people don't believe you, when they like, no, vanilla wafers, peanut butter. What?
Yeah.
That's
this is something that's new. It's like it's new to market, but at first I was very hesitant. But there is a Flaming Hot Mountain Dew. It's a collaboration with Flaming Hot Cheetos, and at first I'm like, if you just made liquid Flaming Hot Cheetos, that's disgusting. But it's Mountain Dew, but it's spicy, and so essentially what it just tastes like they just made a virgin spicy marg. I mean, why am I into spicy hot Mountain Dew?
That's hilarious.
So
spicy.
Yeah, that's definitely weird.
We like
weird
food.
Reviews.
What can we say? We all eat food.
I mean, and we talk about like additional features in media, and that we're in this point that they're experimenting with food, and you're getting additional features in your food offerings.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's the whole Tex-Mex scene. That's the fusion scene. That's
Well, speaking of how people, get people in to give money or support a cause or whatever, a lot of times they'll have like a chili cook-off, or they'll have like a, some sort of thing like that.
Yeah. Do you remember when Revenge of the Sith came out and Cheetos came out with those ones that changed your tongue? Like green?
Yeah.
Oh, I ate so many of those.
Yeah. I was like, remember back when like purple ketchup was a thing, and then
I love purple ketchup.
Yeah.
And then we got green ketchup.
And then they tried to put like butter.
Yeah.
I did the green. I tasted the green ketchup.
Yeah.
I only wanted the purple.
That was, yeah.
My wife swears it tastes the same, but I didn't think it tastes the same. There was something just a little. It seemed a little different. I don't know why, but
I think it was just the food color.
Yeah, and when the food coloring is so aggressive, you can taste it.
Yeah.
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 Well, it had to be aggressive to,
Yeah.
get over all that red. Holy moly. Green, from red to green. There's no telling what they did to that, to what they exposed it to.
It's the gamma radiation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Definitely. God. I mean, like, also, like, the Halo. I'll mention Halo again. So, Tim mentions Halo on your Tuesday show checklist that you can eat on your bingo card. You can mark that one. But the classic was always like the Mountain Dew Halo Gamer Fuel, or Mountain Dew, or Halo and Doritos. He always, I had to do it with the Rockstars. I got I collected the Master Chief Rockstars. I got all 5 up there.
Oh, wow.
And then I have all 6 of the Cyberpunk Rockstars over there. So, speaking of out of left field, like, additional features or cross promotions, and, a lot of times additional features are like the bonus offerings are just that. They're just cross promotion in some way.
I know for a while there, like my daughter, she wasn't intentionally collecting them, but because of her grandparents at the time when she was little, she would get Pez dispensers.
Oh, yeah.
And even though she made no initiative to start this Pez dispenser collection, she had quite the collection there for a while.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like also, like, as you get to adulthood, sometimes it just kind of happens where, like, obviously you see something like it's limited enough, they're like, oh, I have to get all those. But sometimes you realize that, like, oh, I have like 10 out of 14 issues, or I have this amount of like things out of this run. I guess I'm just finishing the collection now at this point.
That's like, now this isn't comics, but like, I have almost 100 copies of Black Beauty. Like, I just loved that. I loved the movie when I was younger. Yep. Then, like, people got me coloring books, and then it was like I started to go antiquing, and I'd be like, oh, there's Black Beauty. Oh, there's Black Beauty. Oh, there's Black Beauty.
Yeah.
And now I have almost 100 copies, and that's what people get me when they see them.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm that way. There's some figures and stuff I have in my collection that I don't even like.
Yeah.
Why do I have these?
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things where either the completionist bug got me, or well, you can't have this without having a that,
Right.
that kind of thing. And that's the worst, because you don't really care for whatever it is, but you pick it up anyway.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, now I'm 3 for 3 with claw machine figures, so I guess now that's what I'm doing. I guess that's now a thing I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how I started this, but I guess I'm finishing it.
I'm here now. Yeah. It definitely can happen to you. So we are about 20 minutes left. So we've kind of gone the full gamut of additional features, extra bonus features, what have you, kind of talking about.
And fair food. Don't forget.
Yes. The levels of integration, is it the material itself? Is it ancillary? Is it something completely wild out of left field? Subjects, themes, or motifs? Or is it kind of a random what have you related to it? Physical material or additional material, just kind of something related. And the different levels of integration or marketing that's involved with it. So do you guys have any other thoughts you want to share with that before we end? Or
I do. You asked earlier, about stuff that we could add in, like with Night Rides. I really think, Mackenzie, and we haven't really talked about this too much, and we'll probably talk about it more, but as the Kickstarter gets closer, I'm sure we'll have a lot of discussions about a lot of different things, but I think we ought, the developmental art that goes into this, I think we ought to either, figure out some way of, either adding that to a Kickstarter or, an extra push goal, or something. have developmental art, maybe even some commentary, like maybe some thoughts that you had starting out, and then how they got changed.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be that's the kind of stuff I love, especially when I find something that I like. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And well, you saw it. Like, I was even thinking, now they're nothing compared to what you came up with, but like when I was creating the characters, like I did those like vague sketches of them that like I like gave to you, and I was like, hey, here's like the base, because sometimes I'll just doodle to try to get like something down, and like it's close. You can see the thought. Sometimes it's not even near what comes out.
Yeah.
But it's like you can see the thought, and I think that's always really cool.
Well, that's I do that to myself though. Like even like the guy that you have now, so much artwork of, I went and changed him up a little bit because I decided I was thinking maybe the armor needed to be a little more organic looking and less like a blacksmith did it, with these being, I guess, as far as we know right now, like demons from some I don't even know where.
Nope.
But what I'm saying is
club.
when I think about stuff like,
find out soon.
It's really cool in games, like even Dark Souls, for instance. And I don't want to get into a huge conversation about this, but do you ever notice, like, when people go to, and shows, and like say Dark Souls, there's these real elaborate buildings.
Yeah.
And ruins of castles, and it looks like there used to be some sort of society there, and you can kind of understand it in Dark Souls, but like you wonder, about who built that, how did all these castle type structures get in hell? You know what I'm saying? I mean, was this a habitable place at one time, or anyway, I just with this being like a demon army. Anyway, where I'm going with this, I got way off. I didn't want there to be like too much thinking about them. One of the demons or undead things. They're blacksmithing.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look more organic, maybe like it could even be living.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Or real. Anyway, a lot of thoughts.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I feel like we had a lot of those, like, even when I was coming up with the story, you'd be like, we'd throw stuff back and forth, and we'd be like, oh, well, that actually works a lot better. And it's just crazy when you start throwing things back and forth. And I'm sure other things will change as well, even moving forward.
Yeah.
That's the weird, like, Neil Gaiman thumbnailed Sandman, and was working with it, and those, like, the people have offered a lot of money for those thumbnails.
Yeah.
And then when you can see them, they're like, they get included in some collections, and he also used them in his masterclass, and it's just very cool to like get that additional like look into how that came to be.
Yeah, it's like an inside to the creation process, which I think is always really cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Look at that. Yeah.
Quentin, that looks awesome.
I just accidentally found this brush. What am I going to do here? And then I said, well, let's just try this. Wow, this is awesome. This is amazing. I'm leaving it.
That's my favorite, was when you're working on something and it turns out and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
I wish I was able to like do digital art. Like, unless it's a paintbrush, I can't do it.
We did an episode.
Yeah.
Clip Studio. Yeah.
Yep. Tim brought the stuff.
Yes, I
did not get. I was out that time, and I hated it. I hated it so bad.
Yeah.
I forget what it was even about. What even happened?
What even happened?
But I was really excited about getting into that.
But we do have another hard skill craft episode coming up in a couple of weeks, which is going to be cover design and cover art. So maybe we'll have that episode with Quentin working McKinsey through creating a cover.
Oh God, please no.
Yes, yes, that sounds good. That'd be a good way to learn, right in front of millions of
sounds
people.
like a terrible way for us not to become friends anymore.
Hello, I'm on Twitch. Welcome to the end of the stream. Sorry you're coming in our last little bit here. We run 2-hour episodes, and
hey, come back, watch the video.
Yes,
and
watch our
make sure you
VODs.
come back next Tuesday. We'll be here at the same time.
Also, we do have shows that run Wednesday and Sunday. Those are on 8 p.m. Eastern. We're at the West Coast crew, so we're 8 p.m.
And none of them are as cool as us.
Correct.
That's right. They're
oh shit.
Yeah, that sound everyone makes when painting.
No. No.
At some point or the other, it does happen.
Yes. The amount of a painting streams I'm working on a miniature or something, and you just hear.
I like honestly, I wasn't going to, but like the paint I mixed, was the correct color, and I was like, I can't let it dry.
Yeah, that's. I have been spoiled by wet palettes. I can no longer use a standard palette. Anything that dries out in less than 3 days, I can't deal with.
Oh, well, like all my with the house renovation, all my stuff is all over. So like I am literally painting on paper plates.
Ooh, yeah, I've been there.
And like my cup is a Dunkin' Donuts. Like none of my stuff.
That's amazing.
Here.
Well, that is page 1, right there.
There we go.
I love it.
That's a comic.
That's page 1. You saw it, folks. If you were tuned in, you saw page 1 get started last week and completed just now.
Speaking of bonus offerings, you get you get the making of documented in a podcast.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
You get to see comics being. One show we were doing stories, and then the next show we're doing comics, penciling them, and then drawing them, and then doing developmental art and stuff for them. If you're interested in comics, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, Wednesday, and Tuesday.
Absolutely. And we do have a website, which we'll start with the plugs now. We're about at the end here. So we do have a website and the socials, where we do have a blog, which is updated when I'm in town and not sick. So we should have another update next week. We also have a TikTok and some other offerings as well. I'm going to let that run through to the end there. Do we have?
I feel like this is when you used to watch like the pooling of like school delays. Like, please let it be mine.
Yes. Let's see there. Mackenzie, what socials are you on?
I am on Twitter, Insta, and Facebook. I think that's it. I might have more, but it's always under Wortman25. And you can also find me at my website, which is just myname.com.
Okay. Is it as Wortman25?
Yep.
Perfect. There you go. And there is our newly updated socials there. 3 of us on Instagram, Mackenzie on myself on the Instagram and the Twitter, as well as the Facebooks and all that. Look us up by name there. And
you did that really fast. That would have took me at least 5 minutes.
The master of the bottom third. There we go. We do also have merch. Speaking of additional offerings and bonus features, mugs, t-shirts.
T-shirts are cool.
Yes,
love them.
And if you're in a state or country that still requires masks, we do also have masks with some of our favorite characters. So please don't forget to.
Or if you work in waste management.
Oh yeah, true. Actually, also if you work with resin or any sort of air pollutant rattle cans, You're not quite your M3s, but when you're filing these boys down, they do help keep the carcinogens out of your nostrils.
Woodworking.
Yeah, very important.
Going to the doctor, going to the hospital, you still have to have masks for that.
True. So why not rep some Silverline merch and get your medical professionals interested in your comics?
Yep.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, "Hey, where did that mask come from?" It's Silverline.
Exactly. Anybody got anything else going on? We do have Daytona Beach Comic Con coming up at the end of the start of fall.
A plane ticket. Yeah.
I got my ticket planned as well.
What date is that?
That is did they get
the 10th and 11th, or
it's the 10th and 11th of September. They did not give us a bottom third or a thing for that. It'll be in the
I have to see if I can go to that now, because I just got invited to the short film festival out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Well, we need to plan something. If you're coming, you need to let me know.
I will let you know.
I don't know if I think I'm gonna rent a car. I'm not sure.
Yep. We're going to try to get something much like going on with Dean, since he is a practitioner in tournament Shotokan karate. And
we can watch Tim and Dean
go ahead. Yeah,
kickboxing versus karate.
Yes, that'd be fun.
Or we could just have an eat off.
It's true. We could. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll find some donut burgers and
donut burgers.
Go at it.
Yes. That sounds good. I can't do it, but
well, we'll find you a deep fried Snicker.
Yeah.
That's a duel. We'll have a vegan eat off. It'll just be never ending.
There you go.
Yeah.
How many heads of lettuce can you eat in 1 minute?
Yes. Actually, if you can get like some ramen, like some tofu ramen, that's actually a pretty bomb.
Yeah, can you imagine afterward though? Especially when those noodles get in your belly and they swell.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Spend an entire convention bloated.
Oh no, ladies and gentlemen, we have a reversal.
Oh yeah, good time. Yeah. So, any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
Did you guys see Netflix is canceling that what's that comic? Raising
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, they picked that up because it was like one of the biggest indie comics that was like selling, and they just canceled it today. So
yeah, their adaptation was not. They're trying too hard to be like The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which The Boys already does that perfectly. So
which is a total shame, because the trouble that the creators are gonna have to go through to put that behind them and actually eventually get something that is good.
Yes.
Some people who don't try to change it into something that it's not.
Yeah. But what I am interested though in Netflix news is they have the Resident Evil TV series, which is not going to be like the Mila Jovovich movies. It's going to be its own thing.
Yeah.
But with Lance Reddick playing Whisker, and Lance Reddick is a great talent, and so I trust what he's been involved with. So seeing him involved in that gives me some hope for it, especially the way that they're describing it being more of a scientific horror drama.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm interested in that, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I liked him on Fringe. Is that the same guy?
Yeah. He's also Zavala from Destiny, and he was Silent in Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah. All right. Well, if no one has anything else. Show, so we'll see you guys all next week. Be sure to check out the Wednesday and Sunday shows, and until that time,
make mine
Silverline.
Yeah.
Thank you, Quinn. So Quinn, what you got going on?
Not a whole lot. Just
hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.